You are gangsters. You are gangsters.
You're washed up.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. Today is not only a pivotal day in the 2024 election cycle, but indeed in American history, because today a jury is going to start deliberating after a trial involving criminal charges against a former president of the United States. And while you can get your legal analysis on this choose-your-own-adventure type of trial involving a known liar being at the center of it all, Michael Cohen, I'm here to talk about the circus going on outside the trial.
Ready for the circus, Homer?
What you saw yesterday involving veteran actor and known Trump hater Robert DeNiro having a press conference outside of Trump's trial while summations going on was not only completely deranged, as is usual for Robert De Niro, but it represented a capitulation, a concession by the Biden campaign that they have been largely kept out of the spotlight thanks to Trump's masterful maneuvering in the media. We're going to go through the circus, and before we do that, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you like what you see in here in this or any other video on the channel, I'm going to ask you guys to please smash that thumbs up button, like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that really, really good stuff, because all that feeds the YouTube algorithm.
Well, let's feed it.
Thank you guys for all that you've been doing to help grow the show. We're around 50 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers, and it's all because of you. And for all you newbies out there, I hope you become one of the 50 that subscribe to the channel, and I hope that this video earns that subscription as we talk about the political backdrop, the drama behind the drama of the Trump trial happening in the People's Republic of New York City, and why this move of having Robert De Niro step up front and center outside of the courthouse was really a huge concession that Democrats think Joe Biden is in deep, deep trouble. This is how the Biden-Harris campaign opened this press conference featuring Robert De Niro and some other Democrats who were also Capitol police officers turned politicians that were at the Capitol during J6.
First of all, let me say this first and foremost. We're not here today because of what's going on over there. We're here today because you all are here.
Now, if you believe that nonsense, there's a bridge close to this courthouse that goes between Manhattan and Brooklyn that I can sell you at a really, really cheap price.
I mean, it's such a desperate bid for attention.
Because, of course, the Biden-Harris campaign is here. This is where the media is because this is where Trump is. They're chasing their own coverage here. No one's showing up for a Biden-Harris press conference outside of this area. The story is and has always been this year about Donald Trump, whether it's the primary season or now when it's one-on-one, mano-a-mano between Trump and Biden. Trump is always the story. Trump has been proactive speaking to the media. Biden has been reactive. And now they're coming to him. They're coming to the courthouse where he is to try to grab a little bit of that spotlight from Donald Trump. But they have to start off by saying, we're not here because of Trump. And if anybody believes that bridge, it's still available for you.
These are desperate monsters, desperate for attention.
And so we are proud. We are glad that you're all here this morning. We're here primarily because of the threat that Donald Trump poses to the United States of America and to our democracy. We are, of course, grateful to have two brave officers, Michael Fanone and Harry Dunn, who defended our democracy and our Capitol against the violent mob that Trump incited on January 6, 2020.
You see what they're doing here? They're trying to remind everybody about what happened 3 years ago. Don't pay attention to what the Biden administration has been doing while in office. We have to go back to before his inauguration to rehash what happened on J6. It's bad enough that there was a whole congressional committee. There was a whole report here. They have to keep bringing it up. They have to keep regurgitating this because that's all they have right now. They have no real record to really stand on. We've talked about inflation in past shows, how inflation has gone up substantially, and they can't even talk about it coming down. We've talked about disastrous military operation in Afghanistan and withdrawals. We've talked about his lack of empathy, his feeble mind, his feeble body, the different stories that he talked, especially when he was in Maui and things like that. This is all they have to cling on to at this point. Of course, they're hoping for a conviction, but in all honesty, will the conviction in this New York trial move the needle in any way, especially given Trump's handling of the media and the way this case has unfolded with no real legal theory, sort of a choose-your-own-adventure type of theory of criminality, actions that would normally not be considered criminal being criminalized by Alvin Bragg, and of course, Michael Cohen, a known liar, being caught in even more lies when he took the stand in this trial. So all Biden has is January 6th.
21 here with us. And of course, we are happy to have Robert DeNiro, a native New Yorker who can spot BS a mile away and isn't afraid to call it out.
Oh, I'm sorry. They don't just have J6 to talk about. They have a known Trump hater, a known deranged Trump hater, Robert DeNiro. And we're going to see that derangement on full display as he takes to the podium here in a prepared speech for the Biden campaign. Just so you know, it might be a little hard to hear Robert DeNiro over a crowd of protesters that are supporting President Trump outside the courthouse. This gets pretty good.
Thank you. I mean, this is really, even these people over here are kind of, it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy, and this thing, Donald Trump has created this. He should be telling them not to do this, but he's just, he wants to sow total, he wants to sow total chaos.
Now that's real interesting. Let me ask you something, Bobby. Can I call you Bobby? Where were you decrying the protests happening in 2020 in Portland, where federal courthouses were on fire, or throughout the nation with the Black Lives Matter movement, or during the George Floyd protests? Where were you for all of that? Were you blaming Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for those riots, for those protests, just like you're trying to do here with this protest of pro-Trump supporters outside the courthouse? Or is it just disgusting because it's pro-Trump? Again, Robert De Niro is Trump deranged. So therefore, anything Trump related that is positive for him, like people showing up to support him at this criminal trial, is bad and must be decried. And you must point out that it's wrong because it's Trump related. Trump lives in Robert De Niro's head rent-free. He's got a whole condo up in there,
Which he's succeeding in some areas and places to do. Anyway, beside all that, this is my neighborhood, downtown New York City. I grew up here and feel at home in these streets. I feel comfortable. The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of the city was like a ghost town. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists to change our way of life. And we started the Tribeca Festival to bring people back. I love this city. I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
Wait, you're serious?
Okay, do we think this is maybe just a little bit blown out of proportion? Donald Trump wants to destroy the city that he was born and raised in, that he made his millions in, that he changed the skyline of, that he defined the real estate market of. He wants to destroy that. No, I don't buy it. This is more exacerbation. This is more sky is falling mentality nonsense coming from deranged Trump people that are now in league with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
But we vowed we would not allow terrorists.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Was he really going to go there? Was he going to compare Donald Trump to a terrorist? I ask you guys, when is too far when it comes to political rhetoric? We talk a lot about lunacy, and we talk about hot messes in politics. We talk about, especially in the context of my book, which I'm pulling out right now, Schnooks, Crooks, Liars, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores. We've talked about triggers and hijacks, and we've talked about people using emotion to try to make their point and really losing the substance of what they're saying. Is he really going to compare Donald Trump to a terrorist, especially in the climate that we're in right now, when Israel is fighting off a terrorist organization like Hamas? Is that where we're going with this? This is blown completely and totally out of proportion.
I owe this city a lot.
Okay, he didn't go
That's
there.
why
Good.
it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here.
It's his city too.
We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself.
That made no sense.
Okay, does anybody understand what he's babbling about here? Stick to the script, De Niro. That's what you're good at. They clearly gave you a bunch of papers that you're reading off of right now. You keep trying to ad-lib. You're calling him possibly a terrorist. You almost went there. Now you're talking about he's a spokesman for himself, and he was never really part of the city. Donald Trump, again, he reimagined the city skyline with his real estate projects and his efforts. He was part of the New York community. He was a part of the fabric of New York City. He's been in movies as part of the fabric of New York City. He was down at 9/11 that you had mentioned earlier.
Flashback.
I have hundreds of men inside working right now, and we're bringing down another 125 in a little while, and they've never done work like this before. And they're hardworking people, but they've never seen anything like it, and they've never done work like this before. It's terrible.
End of flashback.
All this revisionist history and this nonsense you're spewing right now is complete out-of-control political rhetoric. But please continue, because this whole shrill, unhinged approach that you're taking, I'm sure the Biden campaign and Democrats around the country are absolutely loving it, that you're becoming the face of the Democrat opposition to Donald Trump at this point. I'm sure they're absolutely thrilled that this senior citizen who can't read words on a page at this point is out there being the face for Joe Biden.
To fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns.
I mean, you're here.
We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that.
You're saying the quiet part out loud.
Did he just say that Trump is going to eventually run the country? Clearly that's not on the script for the Biden campaign. Robert, supposed to be supporting Biden. Biden is supposed to be running the country and is going to be running it in the next 4 years. Trump is eventually going to run the country. I firmly believe that at this point. But to come out and say that when you're talking about Joe Biden and you're pro-Biden, kind of a bit of a slip up here. Stick to the script. You're an actor. That's what you're good for. Put on a good face. Right now, this is just not only bad acting, but bad reading, bad sight reading, and the tone is just so off.
Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own.
Prepare to fast forward.
Preparing to fast forward.
Fast forward.
Fast forwarding, sir.
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave.
And where do you get that from? because I could have sworn that there was an election in 2020, and I could have sworn that Joe Biden had been elected president, and I could have also sworn that Donald Trump left office after that election. He may not have been happy with the result. He may disagree with the result, but he certainly left office. Where are you getting this nonsense from? If he gets in there, he'll never leave. He got in there, and then he did leave. It's these contrivances, this imagination, this imaginary dictatorship that people are talking about. Where are we getting this from? This is the derangement. This is the lunacy. Trump is the trigger, and this is the emotional hijack that we talk about in my book.
What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life? I hope this new ad campaign reaches outside the bubble to remind supporters of what a danger he is to our lives.
Yeah, because this entire speech just screams reaching a hand across. And when we come back from the break, we're going to show you what Robert De Niro means by reaching a hand across the aisle to Trump supporters. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. So, Trump deranged actor Robert De Niro thinks that he's going to reach across the aisle to Trump supporters, show them the error of their ways in this ad campaign for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So let's take a look at the outreach of Robert De Niro with his people in downtown Manhattan.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't think that Robert De Niro is the guy to reach out to Trump supporters. This isn't the way to do it. I can't think of any campaign consultant that would recommend this course of action in the course of a campaign when you're representing a candidate. And again, they trotted this guy out in front of these pro-Trump people. And this is the result they get. You know what? They deserve this.
You're a little punk. You're salty. You're a nobody. Your movies suck. You're trash. You're trash. You're done. You're done after this guy, guys. You're done.
Oh boy, the crowd let him have it. That's Robert De Niro's idea of outreach to the people. That's his way to reach across the aisle to pro-Trump supporters, to call them names, to curse at them, and to walk away surrounded by security, surrounded by police, while they're outside supporting Donald Trump. Kind of crazy when you think about it, but hey, this is part of the unforced errors that's going on with this campaign. The Biden-Harris campaign trotting out Robert De Niro with his unhinged, shrill message is the latest in many unforced errors from the Democrats, who are now, according to Politico, in full-blown freak-out mode over Biden. Let's get into this story from Politico. A pervasive sense of fear has settled in at the highest levels of the Democratic Party over President Joe Biden's re-election prospects, even among office holders and strategists who had previously expressed confidence about the coming battle with Donald Trump. All year, Democrats have been on a joyless and exhausting grind through the 2024 election. It's only been a couple of months, guys. A joyless and exhausting grind? That speaks volumes for what Democrats are enduring with Joe Biden, his feeble mind, his feeble body, with the Biden record, with Kamala Harris as the vice presidential nominee, and with Donald Trump just consuming all the media, sucking the air out of every room he's in, having all coverage be about him and what he thinks, rather than what the Biden campaign wants to get out there. But now, nearly 5 months from the election, Anxiety has morphed into palpable trepidation. Oh, you gotta love the wordplay. According to more than a dozen party leaders and operatives. And the gap between what Democrats will say on TV or in print and what they'll text their friends has only grown as worries have surged about Biden's prospects. Ooh, baby, stick this right in my veins. I love the word. Listen, Christopher Caldelago, Sally Goldenberg, Elena Schneider. What poetry, what beautiful language here to express the fear and loathing that Democrats are feeling right now with Joe Biden, especially given the state of the election and what Donald Trump has been doing with all the lawfare that has been thrown at him. It continues on, quote, "We don't want to be that guy who is on the record saying we're doomed or the campaign's bad or Biden's making mistakes. Nobody wants to be that guy," said a Democratic operative in close touch with the White House and granted anonymity to speak freely. But Biden's stubbornly poor polling and the stakes of the election are creating the freakout, he says. This isn't, oh my God, Mitt Romney might become president. It's, oh my God, the democracy might end. They believe their own bullshit, by the way. Democracy is going to end because of Donald Trump? Really? It didn't happen in 2020. What makes you think it's going to happen now? Despite everything, and by everything, I think they mean the lawfare going on, Trump is running ahead of Biden in most battleground states. We've discussed that in previous videos. We're going to put them up in the right-hand corner of the screen so you can view them later. He raised far more money in April, and the landscape may only become worse for Democrats with Trump's hush money trial concluding and another, this one involving the president's son, set to begin in Delaware. So the lawfare is going to shift focus from President Trump, who has made as much political hay as he possibly can with this whole show trial, this fake trial happening in the People's Republic of New York City, for things heretofore had not been criminal, to what's going to be going on with Hunter Biden. And I assume it's going to be tax evasion. It's going to be that gun possession stuff that's happening in California as well. And a whole lot of bad things happening for the Biden team very soon. The concern has metastasized in recent days as Trump jaunted to some of the country's most liberal territories, including New Jersey and New York, to woo Hispanic and Black voters as he boasted, improbably, that he would win in those areas. Now, again, I said this in yesterday's video, and you can check that out in the upper right-hand corner as well. Is Trump going to win the People's Republic of New York? I doubt it. Is he going to win New Jersey? Highly unlikely. What he is going to do is keep Biden going back to secure areas to make sure they're more secure, because Trump is making some inroads there with non-white voters. I'm going to let you guys read the rest of this article later on. I'm going to put a link in the description about it. But let's just say it doesn't look good for Joe Biden. And sending out Robert De Niro to be his spokesperson in this climate turned out to be just another unforced error on top of all the gloom and doom happening in his campaign. The lesson to be learned from all of this is that politics really is, as they say in the musical Evita, the art of the possible. Donald Trump has been dealt a very tough hand by the Democrats, especially with all this lawfare going on. But he's taken that hand and he's turned it into a groundswell of popularity that has expanded his base, not only among his previous coalition, but to now more non-white voters out there. The numbers in battleground states, as we've discussed in previous videos, is proof of that. CNN was freaking out at those numbers as Donald Trump is close to 270 even as we speak, if these numbers hold. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has been allowing Trump to have all the oxygen in the room at these trials. The press is lining up to hear from him every single day. They're following every single minute of this trial, and who knows what's going to happen with subsequent trials to come. The lawfare has been falling apart, whether it be Fani Willis or whether it be the documents trial, where we see Judge Cannon is kind of seeing through the Department of Justice's case. Who knows what's going to happen with these things? We don't think they're going to happen this year, that's for sure. And meanwhile, Biden has been, well, what has he been doing? There's no landmark legislation for him to hold on to. There's been disastrous policies, whether it be the withdrawal from Afghanistan, out of control inflation, more money coming out of Americans' pockets. We all feel this pain, and we're all looking to the White House to cure it. And what are they saying? Well, I inherited 9%, as was featured in last week's videos, when he actually inherited 1.4% inflation. But hey, he's bringing it down from its height that he was the president for. It's not great news for the Biden campaign. Joe Biden is seen as old, weak. He has no real policies to latch onto. People are hurting at the pump. They're hurting in their wallets. And they see Donald Trump and they remember the good old days of the Trump administration. Sure, he was mean and he was on Twitter all the time. But you had more money in your pocket. We weren't involved in wars. The world wasn't on fire. Maybe that's what people are gravitating towards now, regardless of what comes of this verdict tomorrow. It's a pivotal moment, as I said at the beginning of this video, folks. Let's see how history unfolds, and let's see what happens the next day when everybody has to go to the polls to determine this nation's future. But listen, that's just my opinion about all this situation. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Let's get into the comments together. And as always, like and share the show with your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that dang notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. I'll see you guys in the comments discussing this video, as well as any other breaking news that happens today, and any discussion about the shenanigans and buffoonery happening around all that news this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.